Earlier on this week, no doubt you'll have seen there was an IMF forecast for the global economy. There was lots of focus on what happened to the UK. The UK seemed in their forecast to be quite an outlier. I just wanted to know, do you or the bank agree with that assessment? Clearly, this forecast is about the UK, but I just wonder, does it feel like we're an outlier? Does it feel like we're doing so much worse than everyone else? And also, what are the reasons, if so?
I'll comment, Ed. Our forecasts for UK growth are weaker this calendar year than the euro area or the US. But I think one needs to be quite careful about just taking a snippet of time. We look to grow more strongly than the euro area in 2022 and in 2021. And over those 3 years as well, 21, 22 and 23 together, in our forecast and the IMF's forecast. So, there's a reasonable amount of volatility over short periods of time, and you need to be careful in general about those comparisons. Having said that, I think there are a couple of things that could have contributed to the relative weakness of the UK that are not just pure noise. One, the Governor was talking about a moment ago, which is the fact that participation hasn't come back here in the same way it has elsewhere. We don't, as Andrew said, we don't fully understand why, but it's a fact. Another is that the UK is probably more dependent on, in fact, is more dependent on gas. And there's a huge difference, as you know, between the behavior of gas prices in Europe and the United States. So that explains a big part of the gap between growth here and in the euro area compared with the US. But we're even more dependent than continental Europe. You think of France with all its nuclear power stations, for example. So I think that's another part of it. It may also be, and this is what Peo, the IMF's chief economist, said, faster transmission of monetary policy. All those things, the participation, the effect of higher gas prices, and even the faster transmission of monetary policy are not things that will endure forever. So I don't think this had, one should expect this to tell you about trends over the next 4 or 5 years.
You did mention Brexit.
Well, Brexit is, as Andrew said in his opening remarks, has been something that has pulled down potential output in our country in our assessment. That's been our assessment for many years, as you know. And we've not changed our estimate of the long-run effects, but we've brought some of them forward. We think probably they're coming in faster than we first expected, even if the long-run effect is no different. Again, I'm not sure that's going to help you explain why growth is weaker than the Eurozone in 2023, having been stronger in 2022. But over periods of time, yes, it's having some effect on growth, although ultimately and cumulatively no bigger an effect than we assessed some years ago. But you're right that based on the numbers for trade and some degree on the numbers for investment, we think those effects have come through somewhat faster than we initially envisaged.
It's interesting when you look at the profile with the IMF, because in our profile, I would say I think we're pretty similar this year. We've both got pretty sort of, small negative numbers. Actually, the difference is what happens thereafter, I think, which is that they have growth picking up more rapidly than we do. That's the difference, really, that stands out.